Okay, here we are. Finally made it to July 2016. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not the 4th, it's only the 2nd. But over the last couple hours I've been just going through my mail. I listened to 2 speeches by Ronald Reagan. One was on patriotism, and the other, I'm not sure what he was talking about. You know, I was just thinking different thoughts. My generation, John Fitzgerald Kennedy gave a speech that really hit home to everybody. And in that speech, he mentioned, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That's the generation I grew up in. The same one my dad grew up in. Look at World War II. Look at World War I. Millions of volunteers. Civil War. Okay? Now, the Civil War is still a major conflict. People are saying that it wasn't a fight over slavery, that it was a fight for independence. Well, look at it. South Carolina left the Union because the Union told them all people are created equal. You have to do away with your slaves. They're not property, they're human beings. Everybody's created equal. South Carolina didn't look at it that way. And a lot of people don't look at it that way. When you're raised by your parents. And if your parents raised you that black person is non-human, a slave that you can beat, that's the way you're going to be raised. If you raise your children today to hate Muslims, to hate Islam, they're going to hate Muslims and they're going to hate Islam. They're going to put them all in one category, which is wrong. Islam has been around longer than Christianity. Muslim has been here longer than Christianity. They worship one God. You got a percentage of bad people. Even in the Christian community. I told you the story of that one pastor that destroyed his church. Even though they built a church, he was stealing money from them. And he got caught and ended up going to jail. Andy was another pastor, Cordsville Baptist, got caught, perjured himself in my court, which no charges were brought against him for perjuring himself. So you got your bad, but you gotta put everything in perspective. Christianity the worship of one God. Now, is there a difference between saying Christianity and Muslim? No, because they worship one God. They call their religion Muslim. They call their religion Islamic. We call our religion Christian. Of course, we throw Southern Baptist, Protestant, Mormon, all the rest of the words that are not in my Bible. In fact, the word Christian is not in my Bible. Well, it is, in a sense. Paul said that in Antioch, that's the first time that the believers of the way were known as Christians. Well, I believe that's a Hebrew translation of another word, which probably doesn't even sound like the word Christian. But I haven't researched that, and I don't really care. You know, it doesn't matter. I worship one God. Now, Reagan brought out a point. Patriotism is born into us through our daily lives. Like he stated, watching TV in the 60s is a whole different than the 80s. The 80s is a whole different than the 90s. Well, now this is 2016 and what's on TV? I have no knowledge. I don't watch TV. I'm on the computer. I'm on the computer basically 24/7. But I recall back in the 60s watching TV, going to the movie theater. There was a lot of patriotism. I've seen some movies since then. Mary Seagroves and I used to go to movies. There wasn't patriotism in it. We'd go and see In Her Shoes or some other ridiculous movie that doesn't kill a beans. But there was no patriotism. There was nothing about America in the movies that Mary and I watched that we paid money to go see. But that's not true of the movies of the 60s. So, you know, Russia, back in the 40s and 50s, early 60s, Russia said that the United States is going to destroy itself by internal. Well, I believe that. I believe it wholeheartedly. The Islam faith is building strength in our schools today. It's changing the schools. The Pledge of Allegiance is now a prayer. And that was brought out and thrown out of school. The Bible has been thrown out of school. But the Islamic faith is now being taught in school. I don't believe that's right. But it's got a lot to do with what's going on today. Hillary Clinton was backed by the terrorists that we supported, and we gave money to, and we gave arms to, and we gave material to in Syria. They're called ISIS now, that we backed. And they're using what we gave them against us. Isn't that ironic? That Hillary Clinton has got millions of dollars in her Clinton Foundation put in there by people that want to destroy America. And she is going to be influenced to side with their faith, just like Obama did, by instilling Islamic beliefs into the school systems. So Russia was totally right. We're going to destroy ourselves internally. I can see in the near future that my faith is going to be very much a question. I flew home one time. I can't recall the year. It was either 2001 or 2002. Denny Metcalf told me to take a vacation and me to fly home. Art gave me a ride to the airport. I was in Pittsburgh, waiting for my next flight. I went into a restaurant, sitting at the counter, reading the Bible. The man working the counter asked me what I was reading, and I told him reading the Bible wasn't allowed there. I couldn't believe it. I continued to read it. Security came in, escorted me out of the restaurant. Well, I sat outside, down by the gate where eventually I was catching my next flight, and I sat there reading my Bible. This man came up, sat down next to me. And after I got done reading, I closed the Bible and we talked. He told me that he's never seen such courage that I demonstrated by not giving in to the system. And I just looked at him. And I said, you know, when you look at this Bible, it's a book. They had to know that it was the Bible that I was reading. They had to know what a Bible looked like in order to kick up that much dust. Because it looks like a book. And I don't think it's against American policy to read a book. But apparently in Pittsburgh at the airport, it's against policy to read the Bible. Just thought I'd throw that out. So you see, times are changing. And they're changing for the worse. Because we don't have the patriotism that we have. I've stated before that there's times that I feel I made a mistake giving this nation 20 years. Well, I believe that. I do. It's hard for me to swallow. But if I knew back in 1970, when I joined the Marine Corps, that in 2016, the United States would be what it is today, I don't think I would have went in. Why bother? Why bother to give to something that doesn't give back? Why bother to give your life, which I did? You go in the military, your life doesn't belong to you. And I made it through it. But I was denied to read the Bible in Pittsburgh. Interesting. Something to really think about. Anyway, Reagan believes that back in the 60s, patriotism was on TV, in the movies. 70s, just started getting. 80s and 90s, it was just taken out. And I believe that. When you take something out, you have to fill it with something else. America's going through changes. Yes. And it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle until all of us old people, and I'm talking about people 40 and older, that remember how it used to be. And the people that are making the changes, your Muslims and your Islams, who are also our age, and they die off. I can see right now where America is going to be like London, like Paris, like France. You're going to have masks all over. You're going to have Muslims all over. And the freedom and the Christian faith is going to be almost obsolete, just like it is over there in those countries. I'm glad I'm 66. Mom passed away 2 years ago. In just a few days, I'll be reliving that. But what she saw in her life is what I'm living in mine. It's like I told Corey, we're doing nothing but reliving each other's lives. Well, if you look at perspective, put everything in perspective, that's what we're doing. The freedoms of yesterday don't exist anymore. You gotta have new freedoms now. In Pittsburgh, you gotta hide in order to read the Bible. Pretty soon that's gonna be nationwide. So all it's going to do is grow and blossom, especially with the Muslims and the Islams taking over America. So, yeah, I'm looking at about 18 minutes, so, you know, just food for thought, something to think about. And I'm looking at 18, well, it's over 18 minutes now, but, yep, I'll be doing a 4th of July thing here in a couple of days, so. Take care and have a beautiful day. Bye.